I didn't get a degree in neuroscience. My degree is in electrical engineering. Even if I'm not a neuroscientist, right, I've become an individual that people want to ask questions to about the brain.
Welcome to the Engineer Podcast. That's engineer with a J-E-N, because I'm your podcast host, Jen. Now, this is a platform meant to add more soul to your STEM career. If you're a STEM student studying in nonstop stress, then listen to Jen's solo-style episodes where she uses her 5-year engineering degree to teach the inner work that you can do to study from soul rather than stress. And if you're a STEM student seriously questioning your career path, then listen to Jen interview previous engineers who switched from the traditional and aligned with the more soul-centered career field. Now follow me out of the fog and into your future. Let's listen in. Hello everybody! Welcome to segment 2 of Jorge's interview. If you loved segment number 1, please reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to Jorge on Instagram. We do this because of you. We are giving this message out to you. It is here to serve you. So what are your thoughts on it? We want to know. I have a post on my Instagram that you guys can put your comments there. If you loved his story, if you resonated with his story, if you relate to his story, if you just loved it without anything, we want to know. We want to hear from you. But before that, we're also going to give you another gift of knowledge, which is mental science and optimal brain performance tips. This convo was geared around school-related stress and anxiety, as well as my personal panic attacks. So that's the advice that he gives in this area of the episode. But if you want more information, please follow his page at Mindfully Conscious. Check out the link on his page, which is his personal website blog, as well as an upcoming book that he is writing and releasing on August 1st. I personally know that I will be buying it. I don't even care how much he sells it for. I have no idea how much it's going to be. All I know is that it's going to be worth it. So why don't we go ahead and listen to his tips? Wow, that's amazing. I'm curious to know, with your deeper research into this topic, what impacts has it had on you as a person, how you see yourself, how you see your family?
Yeah, it's literally impacted pretty much all facets of my life in a really nerdy way. But I would say that one of the best messages that I've gotten from my learning is this concept called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity is this wonderful property that the brain has that all throughout your life, not just when you're a kid, but from the day that you're born to the day that you die, your brain is constantly rewiring itself in response to your experiences, your learning, and your repeated decisions. So what this means is that no matter what you believe in, whether you think you have a fixed mindset or someone that you feel can't grow or can't learn these skills or can't be like this one other person, or whether you believe you can, you're right. There's literally now a scientific principle that grounds this idea that whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. And neuroplasticity is the how behind it. But let me kind of break it down a little bit more. So let's say that you want to build a new habit, right?
Okay.
You want to start working out. You've never worked out before. The first thing that you're going to feel when you start trying it out is you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're not going to feel good doing it. And the reason why is because you're not wired at that moment to feel like you are someone that can work out consistently. And the process of being in a new situation like that also induces stress. And the key thing about neuroplasticity is that it absolutely requires some form of attention or stress as an adult for it to trigger. So these uncomfortable situations that people are putting themselves in when they try a new habit, it's triggering this neuroplasticity process to rewire. But what happens is depending on how you respond to that discomfort, whether you push through it or you retreat and you fall back into your habits, neuroplasticity is going to wire you in the direction of either. So if you push through those, you eventually develop the comfort and the consistency and the habit of becoming athletic or becoming someone that exercises regularly. And it's through neuroplasticity that you embed these habits and they become automatic. Whereas if if, for example, if you decide to not pursue that new activity, if you decide, okay, this discomfort is too much for me, I'm going to just do what I was doing before, watching TV all night, then neuroplasticity is going to wire you to be more likely to avoid discomfort in the
choose that
future.
every time. Oh,
Exactly.
that makes so much sense. It's kind of like how you do anything is how you do everything.
Exactly.
Wow. That's actually really cool information for me to know. And given your whole story, given everything you've gone through, given everything you've learned, what is the top piece of advice that you would give to other STEM students that are going through stress? Like, that is my main pain point in my content. What's your biggest advice with someone going through that?
Yeah. So stress is inevitable in all of our lives, right? Like we're going to be presented with challenges. We don't know when they'll happen, but it's just certain that they will happen. Whether it's, like exams in school, there's just going to be something that happens that's going to put you into an anxious or stressed state. And the thing about stress is that it was designed by nature to kind of bring your attention to things. It was never really meant for you to kind of let the stress get out of control and really kind of give you this feeling that your world is just crashing inward. It was never designed to do that. But because we don't really understand stress as a collective society, we kind of give these conscious interpretations to stress that make them a lot worse. But one of the most powerful things about stress is that it's not just your mind, it's your body. And so
Right.
when you get stressed, your heart rate beats really fast, your breathing becomes short and choppy. But because your body is displaying these symptoms, your brain is reading these symptoms and making you even more stressed. So
Yeah.
one of the greatest ways to calm yourself is to literally give your brain different signals from your body. One of the quickest ways to do this is if you literally just slow your breathing down, like you inhale for 5 seconds, you hold it for another 2 to 5 seconds, and then you release for another 5 to 7 seconds. You want to make sure that your exhale is pretty long, but just doing this for less than a minute has significant advantages for people that are stressed out. And it can really, really signal to your brain that you're not as stressed as your body is making you feel. And it brings down the level of stress that you experience as a result. Another quick way that you can reduce stress in real time is just unfocusing your gaze. There's a practice called grounding where you kind
Yeah.
of see 5 things around you, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things you
Yeah.
can
Things that you can
smell.
touch or smell. Yeah. All your
Yeah.
senses.
One of the reasons that's so effective is because when we get stressed, we kind of go into this tunnel vision mode, and our eyes actually dilate. Like they kind of increase in their size so that they can take in more information. And the result of that is like more added stress to our
I was
brains,
about to
more
say
added
that. Wouldn't
stress
that
to our
overwhelm you even more?
experience. Yeah. So one of the greatest ways to kind of combat that also is to just unfocus your gaze and maybe take a step outside and look at the trees and look at the sky. Make sure that however you unfocus your gaze, you just have a view of everything that's in your environment. You don't want to be focused on any one particular thing because focus actually induces stress. And when we're stressed, we're super focused.
That actually really helps me, especially the physical body part. So I do have clinical anxiety and have had several panic attacks. And something that happens when I have a panic attack is when I start feeling the physical symptoms of a panic attack, it makes me panic even more, and then it fuels itself and gets stronger. Because when I feel the physical symptoms, like, like there have been times where my lips get blue because I'm not breathing properly and like I'm shaking or whatever, like seeing those symptoms makes my brain freak out, but then it causes more physical symptoms, which causes me to freak out more. And so what you said is really powerful. Changing your body will signal to your brain that you're okay and start calming itself. Like that's the reverse to the feedback loop.
Yeah, and I tell people this all the time. Your mind is not separated from your body. Like it's all an
Yeah.
interconnected system. You think that you have your body which you can move and you have the soul that resides in you, but what's the link between the two? It's the brain and the spinal cord. It's the nervous
Yeah.
system. So your brain is getting signals all the time from everywhere in your body, and it uses these signals to really make decisions about what's going on. Like, is there a threat in your environment? Is there something that you should be stressed about? Is there something that you need to pay attention to? Like, it's constantly serving all your organs, all your like all the cells in your body to kind of make these determinations. And if it does determine that there's something stressful, it's going to raise your level of attention. It's going to raise your level of energy to uncomfortable levels.
So I want people to know in our audience, like, every piece of knowledge that you're dropping is also going into an ebook that you're currently creating. Can you kind of let us know why you've started creating that and what it's going to have in it?
Yeah, so I decided that I was going to write a book pretty shortly after I had that dream that I told you about. But I think I just kind of told myself that I was going to give myself time to learn the material and to kind of come up with enough information to fill a book. And my ebook is called Unlocking. And what I want it to be about is I want it to be about a new kind of self-awareness that I don't really see out there. Right now, the definition of self-awareness is kind of like having this awareness about things that are happening around you, things that are happening in your body and in your mind. But I want to create a new self-awareness that allows you to understand how your actual body and brain works. Because if you can understand like the signals that your body is sending you, whether it's stress, excitement, nervousness, disappointment, whatever it is, if you understand how your brain works, you can kind of reverse engineer what's causing these problems. And it allows you to overcome them even easier because there's mechanisms that you can trick your brain into that a lot of people don't know about. Like, for example, the unfocusing of the gaze and the slowness of breathing. A lot of people don't know that they can use that to calm themselves in less than a minute. And there's lots of other ways that once you understand the brain science, for example, you can motivate yourself in real time. If you feel like you have a problem getting started on a project, there's ways to start that and to propel yourself forward so that you finish it and you feel motivated. Like, there's ways that you can do these things, but a lot of people, because the neuroscience is not only brand new, but also very complex, it's just information that is not very accessible. And I'm trying to kind of create a collection of ideas that I think will really change a person's life for the better, that are supported through brain science. So it's like a combination of self-help with science and studies-backed information, so that, like, for example, an engineer or someone in STEM can really believe the information. Because I know that there's stigmas around meditation, there's stigmas around like journaling and being grateful and stuff, but they have real mental benefits, and there are studies that have been done on them. It's a rigorous science now. Like, we're not just saying these things anymore. A lot of the things that people have known for thousands of years are actually very true, and they're very valuable.
I love what you're saying because I've definitely dealt with those stigmas. Like, I'm obviously a very spiritual, like, woo-woo person, and being in STEM, my community is not like that. So to have this scientific back and applicable, intangible ways to actually make that impact is how to reach the STEM community, because the STEM community is not just down to meditate and pray and be grateful. They need facts, they need logic, they need rationale. And you're almost being that bridge for them to have access to this knowledge that they otherwise probably would have ignored.
Yeah, and as an engineer myself, I'm 100% the same way. Like, when I read a lot of the self-help books, one of the big things that I didn't like, that I noticed, was that all of the books were written kind of anecdotally, or they're done through interviews or statistics. People can't relate to those things. People can't relate to someone that's a billionaire that had a completely different life than them. They can't relate to statistics, which are not, they're not grounded in individuals. But people can relate to the fact that they have a brain and that they have emotions and they have desires and they want to do these things, but they don't know how. Well, this book is all about how you hack your own brain. Well, I don't want to say hack. You basically utilize your own brain to its man-made, or not man-made, it's natural made and full potential.
I get what you're saying when you say the word hack. You're basically thinking above your brain so you can manipulate it to work for you
Exactly.
instead of
Yeah.
against you. And I'm assuming that's where the title comes in, unlocking, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how this happened. I had a virtual assistant that was helping me with the website, and I told him that I was going to have books eventually. And I told him to just kind of create something to let people know that I was going to write a book. And he kind of created these two books on like this banner on my website. And one of them's called Mind Your Business, and the other one's called Unlocking. And I
I
didn't pick
saw
any
that.
of these titles. I didn't
Oh,
pick
you
any of these
didn't?
titles. No, but people were telling me like, "Wow, this is actually kind
Yo,
of a
bro, this is
clever name."
dope.
So I said, "Okay, whatever. I'll keep unlocking." And so each chapter, instead of being a chapter, is like a key. It's like a self-awareness key that I want you to know that can really improve your life in this one aspect.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you didn't even pick the title, but I think it works perfectly. I do want to be mindful of your time, and I want to start wrapping us up. So, you've been given so many gems that I kind of want to dive deeper into, but I know that we'll be talking for like another 2 hours if I do that. So, I kind of want to have you give whatever message is in your heart and in your soul right now that you think the audience can benefit from. Like, what is inside of you that you just want people to know?
For sure. The one thing that I always tell people, no matter where they come from, who they are, what their ethnicity is, and what they believe about themselves, I am no different than anybody. Like, I'm made the same way that you are, Jen. You're made the same way as every other 7 billion people in the world. And I don't want people to give up on their dreams. I want people to understand that no matter what position they're in, financially, spiritually, emotionally, or physically, they can absolutely do something about it. And even if you feel like there's no hope for you, I've definitely been in that situation where I feel like there was no hope and I was just destined to another cycle of poverty, like a generational poverty. If anything, I'm a testament that it is absolutely possible to crawl out of the depths from literally the worst situation imaginable and to succeed and to be living a meaningful and happy life. Really, the only difference between myself and others is just a choice, right? It's a choice at the end of the day. Are you going to let these things define you, or are you going to let it just be part of your story that's not finished yet? And for me, until I find that potential that I'm still trying to tap into, or until I find an unending happiness that I'm striving for, I'm going to keep working till I find it. And I want every single person that's listening to this message to do the same thing for themselves, because if at the end of the day, you have to answer to yourself whether you lived a good and meaningful life. You're not going to answer to me. You're not going to answer to Jen. You're going to answer to yourself. And you're only given one shot on this planet. You know, we don't know what happens in the afterlife, but we do know that we have this opportunity today to make a difference. And I really want people to just understand that they can always choose to make a difference in their own lives.
Damn. Thank you, Jorge. That was honestly, I'm so honored to be able to share your story on my platform. You're actually the first guy I've had on my podcast. So that's a
Wow, that feels
historical
special.
first for our podcast, and it'll open up the door for the rest of the guys. But yeah, thank you so much for giving me an unrenewable resource of yours, which is your time, and spending that with me, sharing your knowledge. Like, you don't even know me. We've never met, but you were so down and you were so excited to be here today. And I just cannot wait to start promoting this episode for you. Like, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jen, for giving me the time and the space to kind of give this message to others, because it absolutely needs to be said over and over again. You know, we get so lost in our day-to-day lives that we forget to kind of look at the bigger picture sometimes. And maybe it just requires a podcast or a video or a chat with a friend to just really wake up. And so for me, it's just really an opportunity to hopefully get one more person to wake up so that they can make a difference.
That's perfectly said. And I think that's the most perfect way to end our podcast episode. Thank you so much, Jorge.
Thank you so much, Jen.
And so it is. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Engineer Podcast. I hope you feel a lot more aligned to take inspired action. Please join us on our Instagram every Monday to set a soulful STEM statement. And did you know that when you subscribe or rate and review or even join our email list, you get freebies sent directly to you? Just head over to our website, www.engineerpodcast.com, for more info. I'll see you next time, STEMmies. Bye for now. And you have officially made it to the advertisement portion of our episodes. The first company that I'm going to highlight is from a dear friend of mine. Her name is Ashley, and her business is named Crowned by Ashley. They provide luxury hair extensions, clip-ins, and wigs at an affordable price that are guaranteed to last over a year with the proper maintenance. Whether you're starting your natural hair journey or are a few years in, looking for a simple, low-maintenance protective hairstyle, or possibly just wanting to change up your look, Crowned by Ashley is your go-to company for affordable luxury hair extensions and wigs in the Los Angeles and Inland Empire areas. Just search at Crowned by Ashley on Instagram, and don't forget, your hair is your crown. Next is the Be Well blog by Cheyenne. Be Well is dedicated to giving hope, information, and valuable resources to those that battle with anxiety, like myself, and mental health. Be Well believes that people can find healing and strength in their anxiety journey if they choose to, that they have that power to do. Be Well invites everyone to live in wellness rather than illness. They are committed to combating the stigma surrounding mental health and welcoming everyone to be well. And that's it. So if you are a Black or brown business owner that would like to have your business/company/blog/influence advertise at the end of our episodes, you can find that survey on our website, engineerpodcast.com.